So today, Friday, 4th of July, the Federal High Court in Abuja gave a judgment on the case between Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the Senate. We know that she was suspended for a period of 6 months for allegations of not submitting to the rules of insubordination and not submitting to the rules of the Senate and all of that. So there were two rulings given today by Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court, Abuja. There was a gag order that was given by the judge where all participants in the case were not supposed to talk about the case in public or on social media. And we saw that there was a time that Senator Natasha posted a kind of satire apology, kind of mocking apology to the Senate president. And the justice has was not happy with that. And so she gave, part of the ruling she gave was that she held Senator Natasha in contempt, guilty of contempt of court by not following through with the gag order that she has placed. And so she has said that Senator Natasha has to make formal apology posted on her Facebook and on 2 national newspapers, and sum of 5 million naira fine to pay to the court for her not obeying that gag order. At the time when I saw the satire apology that she wrote, I didn't really see much sense in that. There was really no need for that. I will see that the justice have taken offense with that, and she has given that ruling. But more importantly, the second ruling she gave was that she ordered the Senate to recall Senator Natasha. You remember that the Senate suspended Senator Natasha, that she did not follow the rules of the Senate. She was insubordinate. Her seat was changed to another seat. Instead of complying with that she was reticent and she didn't follow through with that, and she was challenging the authority of the Senate and all of that, and then she was subsequently suspended by the Senate. So the justice said that was not constitutional. It didn't follow that the Senate has the powers to discipline one of its members, but doesn't have the power to suspend a senator, because suspending the senator means that they are depriving her constituents, they are depriving her people, the constituencies she represents, representation in the Senate, and that is not within the powers of the Senate. And so the justice ordered that she be reinstated. She should be recalled back to the Senate. I hope that the Senate will do the needful and that she will be recalled back, because it's really the Senate and the House of Representatives, the National Assembly, is really a kind of tough place. It's a tough place. When you see politicians that are running for office, I really feel for those who are going for Senate, House of Rep, State House of Assembly, because in those National Assembly, State House of Assembly, there's a culture that has been put in place by men who have been overruling or governing those places for many years. And so they have put in rules, the rules of the Senate, rules of the House of Representatives. They have put in rules to make it impossible or difficult for somebody to dissent. Difficult for people who are from minority parties, or people who want to grandstand, who want to make their stand known. They made it difficult, And so it's really difficult for somebody to go to the Senate and really make a stand. Because at the end of the day, when you see somebody, there's somebody you see before going for the Senate, you see them very activist, like, that they will do this, they will do that. But when they get to the Senate, they become very docile, because the Senate by design doesn't allow dissent. And they try to punish anyone who tries to dissent. And even someone like Senator Shehu Sani, when he was in the Senate, because he disclosed the amount that he was being paid and all that, which they try to keep under. They don't like talking about how much they are being paid and the allowances and all of that. And so they tried to suspend Senator Shehu Sani, and that it was the Senate president then that saved him. So the Senate, the House of Representatives, they have put in rules that make it difficult for people. And so it's such a difficult and such a tough place to be. And, when you see, it's populated by men, and when you see a woman being in the Senate or House of Representatives, especially in the Senate, there are 4 women, and you go to a place where there is this male patriarchal culture and all of that, and so like vultures, and you go there and you try to make a stand as a woman, as a female senator, they want to make life difficult for you, and make things challenging. But in spite of the fact that she came later than others in this 10th Senate, she has really made a stand, and she was really vocal. She wasn't the type, Senator Natasha wasn't the type to just keep quiet and, just follow along and stuff like that. She really made a stance known, and some of them, especially the Senate leadership, could have been offended by her boldness, by her style, and stuff like that. And we see the challenges that she has faced. I would just hope that the Senate will just look at it that, Senator Natasha has been through a lot in the past few months. She has been through a lot. I just hope the Senate will honor the decision of the justice from the Federal High Court. They will not want to appeal the case and drag matters. She should be reinstated to the Senate. The judgment of the justice should be respected, and she should be, the people of Kogi State for a senatorial district should not be denied representation. Whatever they think that she did, the people should not suffer the consequences of that. And so the more they delay her from carrying out our constitutional duties and carrying out the interests of promoting and advocating for the interests of our people, the more they will deny the people in our constituents the opportunity to benefit from our time in the Senate. And they should know that the Senate and the House of Representatives, state houses of assemblies, these are tough places, and places that are by design difficult for newcomers, and difficult for female senators of House of Representative members, and difficult for people who are different from the general male domineering folks, elderly people and stuff like that, and so they should concede that the Senate is a tough place for anyone, not to talk of a younger, good-looking female senator, and so they know the system they have crafted. They know how they try to suppress dissent and all that. And all that the senator was trying to do was to make a stance known and to speak in the interests of our people, I think if somebody wants to go into politics, it's better to go for an executive position. Local government chairman, state governor, some executive positions I think are better. because there you can take your decisions and stuff like that. But going to that group of people, Senate, House of Rep, where you now have to now create alliances. It involves a lot of compromise, a lot of, dealings, strange bedfellows and stuff like that. People that you will not normally want to interact with. You're forced to interact with them, because if you don't interact with them, you'll not be able to make headway. So it's such a difficult place. And, Senator Natasha has really proved herself as someone of substance, as someone who will not be pushed aside, and someone who will not be intimidated. And she's really been through a lot. With the support of her husband, she has been able to cope thus far. I just pray that she will not be made to suffer more indignities and all that, and she should be reinstated, in line with the judgment of the Justice of the Federal High Court, Abuja, who also happened to be a female, Justice Binta Nyako.